tail. What are you trying to do, wrinkle it? See now, go with Jim Belly. Been to Las Vegas, San Bernardino. Of course you realize this means war.
Hi YouTube, this is Raven. I'm a survivor of a 16-year marriage to a covert narcissist or someone with a personality disorder. I'm not sure whether he had borderline or narcissistic personality disorder or some other personality disorder because he has not been officially diagnosed by a healthcare provider with a personality disorder. However, this is just my opinion based on a 16-plus marriage and all the bullshit that he put me through. Sorry, pardon my language. But, you know, this has been a difficult week with him. It seems like every January the drama starts. And I've started to think of him as a troll that lives under the bridge. And every time I want to cross the bridge, here comes the troll, and the troll wants me to pay, you know, a toll. And I'm actually trying to visualize him in my head as a troll. I've actually started seeing a hypnotherapist to kind of help me deal with it, because every time I have to deal with him, I turn into a different person. I shrivel up. I don't want to stand up to him, because I think that there's a lot of people have this belief that gray rock means doormat. That, oh, you know, to be gray rock, you know, you've got to be a doormat. You let the narcissist walk all over you. And I'm not going to be a doormat anymore. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being a doormat. I have primary custody of these kids, so I should be able to make some decisions without worrying that the narcissist is going to fly off the handle. You know, my therapist was telling me to think of him as a little yappy dog that barks, but he has no teeth. You know, he's just beep, 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 or, you know, like, you know, because he doesn't have his dentures in. But, you know, she had me imagine that. And so I've also started thinking of him as a troll that lives under the bridge. But one of the things, you know, when you have kids with a narcissist, is that at some point, I think they're going to start treating the kids the way they treated you in the marriage. And what I mean is that I have a friend who had kids with, I think it was probably a narcissist too, but all of the drama that happened with her narcissist was 20 years ago. And she told me, you know, that this is what's going to happen. And she gave me a list of things that are going to happen. And one of the things is that the narcissist is not going to want to have the kids around much as they get older. And, yeah, I didn't think that that was going to happen right away. But he's currently ghosting and doing the silent treatment on the kids. And I'm going to read some emails, you know, to illustrate, you know, what has happened. But I also did a video about a year ago. I think it was called Dealing with a Narcissistic Bully or Overcoming the Narcissistic Bully. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to see a difference that a year makes dealing with a narcissistic bully, because I made that video on January 20th last year, and, you know, it's now like January 12th of this year. So what had happened is we're having some problems with my daughter. She has developed an attitude that she doesn't care about her schoolwork. She doesn't seem to care about her swim lessons anymore. And, you know, she's not turning in her schoolwork, and so she's getting a bad grade in English. And, you know, I'm working with my daughter's teacher, and I'm working with her counselor to get to the bottom of what's going on. And so she had a meeting with her counselor last Friday, and the counselor got down to what's really going on. And she pulled me aside to talk with me in private, and she said, this is what's going on. Your daughter's a preteen. She has a lot of anger issues where it comes to her dad, specifically things that he's doing when they go to his place. And she said one of the things is she's mad that she lost her room. And I did a video a while back talking about how when the narc moved his girlfriend and her daughter into his place, my daughter lost her room. He moved her out of her room, gave the room to the stepdaughter, and made her a room. He used temporary building materials to wall in this loft area at his place that has no windows. It has only one door. It's the size of a closet. I mean, basically, he's put our daughter in a walk-in closet, and that's her room. While the stepdaughter, you know, my daughter's even said time and time again, it's like, now I know how Cinderella felt. And she's mad about that. And the counselor said, that's a big deal. At this age, their room, as a preteen, that's a big deal. But she's also mad at him because his actions led to the death of her kittens. She had 2 kittens at his place. Well, when the girlfriend moved in, she brought 2 large dogs. So what did he do? Instead of leaving the dogs outside, he threw the kittens outside. 2 kittens that have never been outside. They don't know what outside is. They've always lived inside. So one of them got run over by a car. The other one just finally disappeared. They don't know what happened to it. And so she's mad about that. She's mad that her pets died. But, she's also mad because she says that he says disparaging things. He's always talking trash about me and my family when they're in his presence. And he's not supposed to do that. According to the parenting agreement, he's not supposed to do that. But there's other things, where he makes jokes, and he calls it being facetious. And he'll make jokes. And you know how narcs will do that they'll insult you. Like, oh, that outfit, do you really think that outfit looks good on you? Ha 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 ha. Oh no, I was just kidding. I was being facetious. It looks lovely. It looks lovely on you. My mother-in-law would do stuff like that. But he does stuff like that. And she feels like, she told the counselor, she feels like she's a second-class citizen. And the counselor used the words scapegoat and golden child when she was talking to me. And she said, I'm going to call him today and I'm going to lay it out. I'm going to let him know this is what's going on. And she said, if he doesn't change his ways, when she becomes an adult, his daughter's going to have nothing to do with him. And I was thinking in my mind, yeah, this is the way that children of narcissists are, that a lot of times they go no contact when they become adults. They want nothing to do with them. I've seen plenty of elderly people in nursing homes when I was doing clinicals that, their children have nothing to do with them. And, I kind of wonder sometimes, were you a narcissist? Why have your kids abandoned you? But she called him, and I knew that it was not going to go well. This call was not going to be well received. Because narcissists gaslight, they triangulate, they deny, they blame shift, they do everything to play the victim. And this is what he did in this situation. But I'm going to read these emails to illustrate to you what happened. I just received a call from the counselor where apparently our daughter recited a list of issues that are causing her problems, i.e. loosing her room not having a window, the cats running away. See, he won't even admit that he threw the cats outside, my facetiousness, and supposed disparaging remarks from me toward you. I would like to hear her examples. In light of this, I would like to have a conversation about this. Please let me know when you're available to talk. Well, in my mind, I was like, never, because I don't have phone conversations with you unless they're recorded. I mean, that's what went through my mind. It's like, I'm not going to have any kind of communication with this person unless it can be recorded or there's evidence of what was said. So I say back, I don't know if us having a conversation would help. I think having a conversation together with the counselor might be productive to help our daughter come up with constructive ways to handle her anger. She's been grounded from her phone since she hasn't turned in her work. The phone is currently at my parents' house. You can reach her by my phone or their iPads if you want to talk to them sometime. So it comes back. Glad to know you're so willing to work together, he put that in quotation marks, on issues with our children. I'm glad that you feel comfortable receiving all of your parental advice from the counselor, ... But there are occasions that you and I need to discuss our children's well-being. And I'm thinking in my mind, yes, recorded. We can have a conversation if it's recorded. So I send back an email. I have no problem discussing our children. I just don't know if us sitting down one-on-one is going to accomplish anything. I think we should get some advice from the counselor. She's the one talking to our daughter one-on-one in her sessions. I think the counselor would be very helpful in this situation for us to schedule a time to talk to her together. That's all I say. He sends me back an email. Just to be clear, ... You are refusing to have a one-on-one phone call for us to discuss our children? Now, he does this in times past. These are the kinds of emails that he copies his lawyer on because he's trying to accuse me of being a bad parent. I don't care about our children, whatever the case may be. And, here's the difference, I think, between being gray rock and a doormat. I'm not going to be a doormat at this point. And, you know, the troll has come out from under the bridge. Fine, I'm going to deal with the troll and send him back under the bridge. So I say, oh, sorry, I got my papers mixed up here. So I say, no, I'm not refusing to have a phone conversation about our children. I'm just saying I don't think it would do any good. I don't think you value my opinion. If you want it, I will give it to you. Here we go. I'm not being hostile or judgmental in any way. This is my clinical analysis with just the facts. You are making the same mistake your parents made with you. You always felt like you were treated like a second-class citizen, and you're still seeking your parents' approval. The same thing's happening with our daughter at a very crucial age. She feels like her father puts her second when it comes to the new child in his life. She feels like the new child is more important to you because of the loss of her room. This is what the counselor told me, that our daughter is very upset about feeling like the stepdaughter gets preferential treatment. I do everything I can to encourage our daughter to be positive about the situation. I have even told her that I always wanted a sister, and now she gets to have one, so she should appreciate it. However, I do understand her feelings that her room was taken from her and that her cats disappeared. I don't know how to help her feel better about those things. You need to talk to our daughter and work these things out with her. I can't make her feel different. She needs her father to talk to her. However, I never say a disparaging thing about you to the kids. I respect the fact that you are their father. However, I don't think you have any respect for me as their mother, and that is why I feel a conversation with me really would not be fruitful. If we had a conversation with a third party, such as the counselor, I think you would be more willing to listen to them than me. There again, this is my opinion. Take it or leave it. So that's all I say. And I finally get an email back. I don't answer this email. I do find your assessment hostile and very judgmental. In light of this, I now understand that my presence in her life is being used by her as an excuse to justify her behavior. I make every effort to demonstrate how important our daughter is to me. I regret that she chooses to ignore, twist, and misrepresent what happens when she is with me. In light of one of the counselor's suggestions that changes be made in her situation, I think it's important for our daughter to take time to evaluate her happiness and relationships she is building in her life. For the time being, she no longer has to come to my house, as the visits obviously cause stress and are a detriment to her schoolwork. The counselor, you, and I can continue to evaluate how she's doing with her relationships, attitude, and outlook to help determine the future. So this is basically him saying, you know, I'm being a victim. She's victimizing me. She's lying. I mean, I don't know how he can say that she's lying about her cats dying, okay? It's not like she opened the door and threw her cats outside. It's not like the cats made a chain, you know, like one cat was on the other's shoulders and somehow pushed the sliding glass door open, walked outside, dragged their litter box with them and their food, and somehow, you know, made a home outside, you know, next to the busy highway. I just don't see that happening. Obviously, he did that. You know, he doesn't want to acknowledge that he says things that are demeaning to her. He doesn't want to acknowledge that, yes, he is treating his daughter the same way he was treated. He was the scapegoat, and his brother was the golden child, and he was treated this way, yet he doesn't want to admit this. He doesn't want to see it. So now he's ghosting the children. He's doing the silent treatment. He went days and days and days without contacting them, without talking to them. And so then when my daughter called him up last night and said, you know, Mom has said that, you know, I don't have to go to your place if I don't want to, but I do. I want to go to your place. And he said, well, you probably won't go to my place this weekend because, you know, the stepdaughter has the stomach bug. Oh, yes, this convenient stomach bug. So, you know, this is what it's like dealing with a narcissist and a narcissistic bully, you know, when it comes to your kids. And I've decided, you know, I'm still going to be gray rock, but I'm not going to be a doormat. Sorry, my phone cut out there. But, see, this is an example of, you know, a narcissistic bully and, you know, a prime example of someone who doesn't want to take responsibility for their actions. He's always going to play the victim. He's going to deny things. And our daughter is smart enough to see this. You know, she's smart enough to see that she's being treated like a second-class citizen. You know, and I don't have to say anything. And I don't. You know, I don't say anything about it. But she's able to see this. And this is what my friend predicted that had children with a narcissist. She predicted this, that this was going to happen. At some point, he was not going to want the children over at his place. And it's happening sooner than later that, he's decided, since, she has committed a huge narcissistic injury to him, that, oh, I don't want her to come over anymore. I'm the victim. I'm going to take my ball and go home. That's the way he always acted. And I'm not going to be a doormat anymore. I'm going to defend my children, and I'm going to be their advocate. I'm going to be there for them, and I'm going to be a good parent, to be the only example, I guess, that they have of a stable, loving, good parent right now. And so I didn't answer that email, and the troll went back under the bridge. And, so that's what I've started doing, is like kind of visualizing, he's a troll, because he kind of looks like one these days. But, that's not very nice. But, it's the truth. But that's all for now. Be vigilant, be safe, take care, be gray rock, but don't be a doormat.